Okay, so today we're doing a get ready with me outside. It was like 75 degrees the day I was filming this. By the way, ignore the thing that looks like a hickey on my neck. It's just from a hot pack. So I'm starting off with this Jelly Jam lip mask. This is from Shop Miss A. It's around $1. And this is actually really nice. I really love the feel of this. It is rose scented, which I don't love, but I believe they have other scents of it. And the rose kind of disappears once it's on your lips for a while. But it just feels super soft, very moisturizing. Been liking that. So let's start out with the skin. I'm using one of my favorite SPFs. This is the Super Goop Glow Screen SPF 40. Out of all my glowy SPFs, this is definitely the glowiest. If you like a super glowy base, this almost has like a really nice, not primer feel, but it definitely doesn't feel like an SPF. It's super moisturizing and it's a really good base for makeup as well. And there is a really slight tint to this SPF. And then for primer, I'm going to be going with the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This is one of my favorites. If you have not tried this yet, you need to. It's a dupe for the Tatcha Primer. And I do feel like this weirdly adds a little bit of coverage, but also just creates a really smooth, nice base for my makeup. So I'm starting out around my nose area where my pores are the biggest. And I'm kind of pressing it in there, and then I'll kind of blend it underneath my eye. I do feel like this helps a little bit with concealer creasing, which is why I'm bringing it right underneath my eye. And I just like to concentrate it on the areas where my pores are largest first. This isn't necessarily like a pore filling primer, but I do feel like it blurs a little bit, but I just like to bring this anywhere where I kind of have more texture, pores, everything. By the way, I have self-tanner on right now. It's like day 3 of self-tanner, so my face is lighter than my body, and I'm going to be using darker shades of foundations than I normally would. So I'm using these two. I'm going to mix these. My favorite Purito BB cream, but this is in the shade 27, and then I'm taking the Lawless Woke Up Like This foundation in the lightest shade. The Lawless foundation is full coverage with a really nice soft matte finish, and then the Purito definitely has a very dewy finish. So the two of these mixed together are just super pretty, and whenever I have self-tanners on, I can wear shades and foundations that are usually a little bit too dark for me. That's how it is with the Lawless. That lighter shade Pristine is normally a little bit too dark if I don't have self-tanner on. But I wanted to do this kind of voiceover video, but show you more in depth instead of like cutting out what I normally would, just show more of the process of actually applying the makeup and kind of talking through it. Hopefully you guys find this helpful, but I'm going to be talking through some of my like techniques and just different things I do as I'm applying stuff. This foundation brush I'm using is the new Haley's Beauty foundation brush, and it is so nice. It has like the perfect density. I'm just bringing that down my neck to kind of cover up all that neck stuff, and then also just make sure it's the same shade as my neck. So something I always like to do is take a sponge. You can use wet or dry. This is the Kokie Cosmetic sponge. This is my favorite sponge. And just press over what I just applied with a brush. I like starting with a brush because I get the best coverage. I just like to apply foundation that way. But then smoothing it over with a sponge and just really pressing everything in really helps with the final finish of your foundation. Here's a close-up shot of what this is looking like. By the way, obviously I'm in pure natural lighting, no filters or anything on my videos ever. So here's the Kosas concealer. I really like this when I don't want to set my concealer, which is honestly most often these days. I just like to apply a little bit very close in so that I can avoid as much creasing as possible. And I find that if you let this sit on for about 30 seconds before blending, this one actually has really nice coverage. And the same kind of stipple motions that I like to use when I blend out my foundation, I also use with concealer. I get the best coverage that way. You can see I'm not like dragging it, I'm just kind of tapping it and stippling it out. On my skin, if I use the sponge for under eye concealer, it just removes literally all the coverage. So I definitely prefer a brush. And I like to bring it over my eyelids too, just to cover up some of the discoloration, freckles, all that jazz. So now going in for brows, I'm first using a little spoolie to brush them through. I've been really digging the Glossier Brow Flick lately. This is like their brow pen. And I generally really like brow pens. I love the Urban Decay one. But this one has just been hitting different. I don't know what's going on with it, but I've just been really enjoying it. I will say my right brow, this one I'm doing, is always the winner. This one turns out better every time, and then it just goes downhill once I switch to the left side because it's like that angle. It's a hard angle. But if you get any too high or outside of where you want it, you can kind of just use your finger and just kind of like rub it off really quick. When you're doing this, you want to try and use super light pressure, like barely touch the product to your brows just to create that really fine line that looks like hair. This is the tricky side for me. It's just the angle of my arm. It just like flattens out the pen a little bit more. So I always have to spend a little bit longer on this side, but you can see I'm just using upward motions and kind of creating those hairs, and then I'll bring it down further in the front. For bronzer, I'm going to be using this cream bronzer by Milk Makeup. This is in the shade Baked. This one is usually a little bit too orangey on my skin tone when I don't have tanner on, but I love the e.l.f. Putty Primer Applicator to use, not with the putty primer, but I love using it with cream bronzer or blush. It's the perfect size to blend out cream bronzer. And on a daily basis now, like anytime I'm doing my makeup, I'm pretty much exclusively using cream products right now. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like they blend out so seamlessly. And I don't find it necessary to then apply a powder over top. I feel like then it kind of makes the cream products just pointless because that's like an extra step. So if I'm using cream products, normally, unless it's highlighter, normally I will just use the cream products. But I'm applying a little bit to the sides of my forehead as well, just to kind of warm up my face a little bit. Cream blush time. Juicy Pink is one of my favorites. You can get it on YesStyle. It's very affordable. And this kind of peachy coral shade is so pretty for spring, summer, whatever season we're currently in. What even is May? I don't know, man. I always get confused with that. I feel like you're in summer mode. But anyways, I like to tap this out with my fingers. I feel like it gives the best blend, and it just looks so natural. You can see it just like melted into my skin. I used to be so anti-cream products, like I just did not like them, did not understand them. And I feel like once you find good ones, it's a little bit life-changing. And it's just a different kind of look. It's definitely a lighter, kind of more natural look. So now I'm taking the edge of my sponge and just kind of blending out that blush just to make it super seamless. And going in with the old Auric Glow Lust, not old, brand new. But this is in the shade Morganite. You need the tiniest amount of this stuff, like literally that much. You can apply this underneath your foundation, all over your face underneath foundation, just as a liquid highlighter on top of foundation, and that last way is my favorite way to apply it. I wish they had one lighter shade because this shade looks really nice on my tan skin tone, but when I have fair skin, it is a little bit too dark, I'm finding, but it looks super pretty. I love the reflect. It looks very natural, but still gives you that glow. And I did just put a touch on my Cupid's bow and on my nose. So now to prime my eyes, I'm trying this Caviar Eye Stick by Laura Mercier as a primer. This one's in the shade Vanilla Kiss, and it's a really nice matte, light kind of cream color. And I just wanted to try this as a primer because the Caviar Eye Sticks tend to be very long lasting, so I'm curious to see how this is as a base. So far so good. I'm going to keep testing it and I'll update you guys, but I'm just patting that out with my finger. For eyeshadow, I'm taking two different drugstore priced palettes, one by Collab, one by ColourPop, but I ended up actually only using one shade out of the Collab palette, and it's just that like tan color, so you could honestly just use like your bronzer. You don't really need that palette for this look. And then the Strawberry palette by ColourPop is one of my favorites for these peachy pink kind of tones, and that's the look that we're going for today. So I'm starting out by taking the shade Paper Straw, which is a really pretty matte peach color, and I'm just blending this into the crease starting on the outer third, so you can see I'm focusing most of the color there and then just dragging in whatever's left over in windshield wiper kind of motions into the inner. But I feel like I had to hiccup and that just distracted me. Let me know what you guys think of this style video. And outside, I love the light. The only thing is I can only film voiceover style videos outside because of the cars and downtown and things. But now I'm going with the Collab palette and just taking that tan kind of shade. So like I said, you could just use your bronzer for this or any kind of tan colored eyeshadow. And I'm focusing that mostly on the outer part of my eye just to add a little bit more depth and also bring in kind of more like orangey tones. And I'm just using a fluffy blending brush for this, and I'm using pretty light pressure. So now I'm going to go with this super pretty, oh my god, just reminds me of like orange sherbet color from that ColourPop palette, and pressing that on with my finger. Anytime I do a lid shade, pretty much, I like to apply it with my finger. I always find that that applies the best. Just gives the best color payoff. And the shade I'm using right now, by the way, is called Berry Fine from that palette. And if you want it to be even more metallic, like super metallic, you can always wet your brush, like either with a setting spray or with water. Taking the shade Delish on my finger, which is a super pretty light pink color, I'm just pressing that mostly on the center of my eye. I want a super metallic, really bright kind of light pink inner corner. So to achieve that, I'm using this Peri Para liquid eyeshadow in the shade number 1. You can get this on YesStyle and I think a couple other websites. I'm gonna link everything down below in the description box. The shade is super pretty. The formula ended up being a tiny bit on the patchy side. Like you'll see, I felt like I had to kind of go over it. For my inner corner, I do like using a tiny brush because I usually just can't get it right where I want it with my finger. So I'm just using a brush to blend that out and kind of fading it into the other pink shade that's on my lid. Going back in with the shade Delish again, but on my brush now, and I'm just kind of packing that on top just to help out with the little bit of kind of patchiness I was seeing. And then I'm just blending that into the other color, and that did help. I really like how the inner corner ended up turning out. I'm gonna take a brown pencil liner. This one's by Makeup by Mario. This one actually comes with a brush on one side and then the pencil liner on the other side, which I really like. I feel like that's super convenient. I wish more eyeliners did that. So I'm just doing a thin line close to my lash line and then using that brush end to kind of smudge it out and create like a very soft kind of brown liner. Especially with the pink, I feel like brown liner just really makes your eyes pop. And if you have green-ish blue eyes, whatever, the orange tones in here combined with the brown liner is a winning combo, folks. Now I'm going to go in with a black liner from the drugstore. This one's the L'Oreal La Liner. And I've been really liking this to tight line. I never used to tight line, but it actually makes a big difference if you look at that eye versus my other eye. It really just makes your eyes pop some more and just creates like a very fine kind of definition without having a full-on like black liner around your eyes. Taking the BH Cosmetics Power Pencil in the shade Beige. I love this one for the waterline. If you don't like a super stark white, this is a good just like skin tone color, and it just kind of cancels out any redness on your waterline. For mascara, it's a shocking day. I'm only using one mascara today. I know. Normally I like to layer it up, but I actually didn't feel like I needed to. I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Legendary Lashes Volume 2 mascara, but I did do 2 coats of this, and I really like the formula of this, but I feel like I used to have issues with this like transferring or something, so I'm gonna have to see. I'll update you guys in the description box. I'm kind of like retesting this one right now, but I like to make sure I get the base really well so you don't have that line where you can kind of see like your natural lash color and then the black. And then I'll kind of curl the wand under, do little wiggle motions, and then get it on there. And I like to get my outer lashes really well because that's what gives you kind of the wider eye look. So a powder highlight is the only thing I'll put on top of cream products if I'm using them. So I'm going with this Too Faced Diamond Highlighter in the shade Fancy Pink Diamond. So I'm just using this on a bigger brush. This one's by ColourPop, and just lightly kind of applying that. I don't want this to be an overly highlighted kind of look. I just wanted like a really natural glow. I just wanted to use this highlight to add in some of the pink tones on my cheeks. But this highlighter I do feel like is very underrated. It has such a pretty finish to it. So I'm applying that on my Cupid's bow, nose, and I just discovered that my Kosas concealer is fully broken. Don't know if I dropped that or what, but there's no top on it now. So now I'm going in with MAC Soar Lip Liner. Was about to say eyeliner. Had so many eyeliners in this video, and I'm applying that all over my lips, completely filling it in. This is a really pretty berry color. You could also use this in the fall just as like an all over fall kind of lip color. But I love MAC lip liners because they don't get weird textured if you go over them and have to like reline your lips in certain parts, which some lip liners can do. So now I'm going in with this Flower Beauty lipstick in the shade 10 Bear Pout. This is one of my current favorite lipsticks. Perfect for layering with pretty much anything for the spring and summer if you want that light pink kind of lip. Now I'm taking the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Creme Brulee. Who's having an OG YouTube throwback right now with this shade name? Wow, it's been a while since I put this on. But that wraps it up. That's everything. I'm going to have all of the products that I use to create this look linked down below in the description box. Let me know what you guys think. Here's some up close shots for you. But if you did enjoy this style video, or you want to see like more voiceover type things outside, let me know. We can make them happen. But if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and you can click the bell if you want to be notified when I upload down below from the old YouTubes. But I love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.